Hey everybody! Hey, thanks for joining me here on YouTube today. This will be a recording I'm posting to the web. I'm in a place with not very good internet reception. So anyway, here we go. Thanks again to K2M Photography. They're right down here and they're in the show notes for not only just creating this video, but giving me permission to use it. And I sure do appreciate anybody who's out there taking fire video and letting us learn, dissect, analyze, all that kind of stuff. Excuse me. So thanks to them. They also became a subscriber, so thanks for that, K2. Other subscribers this week, D. Roper, Michael Duvall, Doc Phil's World. Hey, Doc Phil, great name. Sean Grass, Jay Smith, Corn Belt 546, and CJ. So thanks to everybody for subscribing. So let's get going on the video. I'm going to make sure we're quieted down here, just so you can hear me. I understand sometimes the audio is a little bit rough, but that's the way it goes. So as we looked at yesterday, we look at this place, want to think about reading the smoke, reading the building. In this case, I want to focus a little bit on stuff that's not occurring versus what is. Remember that this is, your eye's going to automatically be drawn to this flames here, right? Light and motion. Quickly get off of that and start looking around the rest of the building. And as always with these videos, we almost never have a way to get around the building and see more of it. So we have to just take the view from where we are and try to figure out a few things about the building. One is that it looks to me like a duplex. When the first couple times I watched this video, I didn't see that. And so it just shows you that you get to learn more each time you watch something, and by doing so, you also train your mind what to look for, right? So it looks like two doors, and my guess is from the way that they're laid out that one goes upstairs and one is downstairs. And this is probably the upstairs, not just because it's on this right-hand side, but also because that's where they're fighting fire through, right? So they've probably figured something out already. We do have a pretty good working fire here, and we're looking at 100% exhaust. And one of the things that we can tell from volume, excuse me, one of the things we can tell from volume here is it's low volume relative to this size of fire. At least that's what I see. And I also see really clean burn, right? So since smoke is fuel, when we have a lot of oxygen available, we get a clean burn, and the total volume of smoke is going to actually go down as that fuel gets consumed by the fire. And so relatively low volumes of smoke coming out of here and really good flame front, which is telling me these in this room and then extending up into the attic above this room, we have really clean burn, a good supply of air, which tells me that it's getting its air from somewhere else, right? If not, these would both be bi-directional flows, right? Air going in at the bottom, smoke and fire coming out the top, and probably a little more ventilation controlled at that point too. So the door to this room is almost certainly open, and there's also going to be some ventilation getting into the attic through the bird blocking and some other stuff, right? Attics, we've almost learned from you all that attics are almost built to burn with the way that they normally are designed to draft air in. We do have some smoke. You'll see it coming back up over here, and as we let it play, so we can see, right? One of the things that I would be interested in is what's going on in the other windows on this floor 2 apartment. In fact, the only two that we can really see well are these two, and I would expect to see, because of how much fire there is here, right? Significant body of fire. I would expect to see some pressurized smoke coming out around these windows, even though they're around the corner. So that tells me likely that the door to this room is closed. If I was on the scene and I could actually see those windows, or maybe get a little closer, do a little bit of a 360 either here or even come down this side, get a look at the back. Sorry about that. Okay, so tells you I'm in a remote location. I must have a battery too. Anyway, as we look here, there's no smoke coming out of these. So, but if I was on scene, I could get closer to them and see. I could be able to see if they're sweating on the inside or soot stain. But without any smoke at all coming out of here, it's telling me that probably the door to this room is closed and not open, right? And I'm expecting to have since the door to this room is open, right? At the top of these stairs, it's probably going to be pretty gnarly up there. Once you open this first floor door, you're going to have some flow, right? You're going to get some flows coming up the stairs and into this fire room. So even opening this door is ventilation, right? And so we're going to want to make sure that once we're ready to, we want to be ready to fight fire before we start opening things up. And we want to be able to make it be charged, masked up, ready to go, all that kind of stuff. And so that as we understand what's going on with the fire behavior, that ventilation, right? Ventilation increases fire behavior in the absence of water application, right? So we want to control that. But we also don't see a lot of smoke. There's a little bit coming out this other gable end of the attic, which we would definitely expect, right? We would definitely expect this, right? So that's in line with our expectations, and a little bit pushing out occasionally along these seams. It's a little tough to see behind the tree, but you can see it. So that's more of it in and out there, it looks like to me, as they're setting up here, right? And so what we can tell us that we're going to probably have pretty good access to get to this fire. Once we open the door up the stairs, since the door is open, we can use to reach that line and probably hit it pretty quickly. We also would expect that in this room here, that there's, or in this apartment right on floor number 1, that there's going to be almost 100% clear visibility, right? And actually relatively low risk right now. Not saying that we don't have to get people out of there, but certainly low risk for a firefighter in full PPE to do a search in there, but also relatively low risk for the civilians, whereas the risk up here is high. And even with the door to these 2 rooms closed, there's going to be smoke in there, and likely a decreased oxygen level too, right? The fire's drawn all the oxygen they can get. And certainly it's looking for, it's pretty good size fire, right? So when we talk about good size too, we're thinking about, relative to the space. And this is a fair amount of this space is on fire now, right? So here we have relatively low volume, right? Turbulent, because turbulence is a measure of heat and energy. And certainly this is turbulent smoke. So thick or thin, it sort of is varying right now, right? Because it depends on how much comes out. A lot of it's being consumed. So I would even say this is thin up here. It really dissipates pretty quickly. And black, right? Coming off of this flame tip here, there's probably almost no, it's going to be thin, black, and fast. Remember that's our shortcut. If we see thin, black, and fast, we can say that we have a well-ventilated fire, which this is, and it's close by. Right, so if we were looking at this from the backside and we could see thin, black, and fast coming up right off the tips of these flames, we'd say, hey, there's a well-ventilated fire nearby. Yeah, certainly, right? But that's the shortcut. So if we're looking at this fire here, the main thing to take is read the smoke, right? Low volume, turbulent, thin and black, which is telling us that the fire's nearby. Obvious to us here, right? We look at the building, right? We're reading this building and we know it's a duplex, it's over under, and the doors to these 2 rooms, at least, or if that might be 1 room, are closed. We get the sense of the other. We know that fire is extended to the attic already, and then we can figure out our tactical plan, right? As always with these videos, I like to stay focused on reading the smoke, reading the building, and figure out what I would do, right? If I was first in here, if I was arriving as a chief officer, what would I expect from my fire department to do? I'm never that concerned with what the fire department that's arriving is doing. Don't know anything about them, their staffing, their response model, what this 15 or 20 or 30 seconds of video shows me. It's just not going to matter in the long run for me. In order to figure out how I would do it, so I can work on my mental models for my organization and keep those in the forefront. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me here today. Get this video posted for you. 1400 every Thursday. I go live as often as I can. Not possible this week, but appreciate everybody tuning in. And for Reading Smoke with Phil Jost, this is Phil Jost, and I'm out. Thanks.